in 2024. There will be a meeting tomorrow. It's a land use meeting, and that will be the last one of 2024 as well. I think it's important to talk about the things that are coming forward. There's three hot items. Number 29, which has to do with ICE and immigration and further hiding of what is going on with the illegal aliens that are crossing the border. There's also a number 41, which is also going to be talking about aiding and abetting these illegals, aliens that have crossed the border, and giving $2 million to Catholic charities to provide shelter and services program to get them out to their next destination. And then there's also item number 36, which is talking about further silencing of the people here at the Board of Supervisors meetings. They have cut down the time of the people from 2 minutes, well, it started at 3 minutes a few years ago, then they went down to 2 minutes, and now if there are 10 or more people, they go down to 1 minute, and they are further bringing more sanctions to silence the people if there is continued disruptions, is what they would call it. But we know that free speech should not be deemed as such. So for number 29, which has to do with ICE, the board's planned actions today will adopt a resolution and board policy L2 to affirm the county shall not provide assistance or cooperation with ICE in its civil immigration enforcement efforts, including by giving ICE agents access to individuals or allowing them to use county facilities for investigative interviews or other purposes. Extending county time or resources, or expending, or resources responding to ICE inquiries or communications with ICE regarding individuals incarcerated, status or release dates, or otherwise participating in any civil immigration enforcement. Now the thing is that they already have all of this in play. They don't need to go above and beyond what is already there for sharing this information with law enforcement. They are kind of going against the incoming administration by doing this. The incoming administration plans to deport these illegal aliens that have crossed our border, and they also plan to go after the sanctuary cities and the people that are aiding and abetting these illegal aliens. So it's interesting that they are putting in more measures to further hide the information and status of these people. We've already had, and they're doing it under the guise of protecting the community and things like that. They always kind of bring in those trigger words to make it seem like what they're doing is a good idea. However, they're already protecting these individuals who have committed crimes. We do know that back in April, a 5-year-old little girl was raped in Linda Vista by an illegal alien, 22-year-old Alejandro Jose Confessor. And his information has been hidden, so it's already brought problems into the county by hiding this. We shouldn't be protecting predators over victims, and this will continue further that pursuit to do so. And so it's actually more dangerous for San Diego County, especially when they want to go against the incoming administration's plans. They talk to us all the time about following the rules, about abiding by the things that they want us to here in the county of San Diego. However, they're willing to go against the federal government in these plans to do so. And that couldn't be more dangerous, because they are actually setting San Diego up for some pretty tough times ahead, especially going against the administration when their plans are to stop the sanctuary city status. In fact, I came to Jim Desmond several months ago, and I told him that we need to address the sanctuary status and do something about it to make a stand to say that this should not be happening anymore, because what it allows is all of the aiding and abetting from the illegal aliens that crossed our border. In fact, for the past several years, it's been happening for a very long time, but since 2021, they have been aiding and abetting these illegal aliens, and it has caused trouble with our county because we are having trouble being able to afford to provide for the community, to help homeless people. In fact, they are digging out of the trash to get food when these illegal aliens have, as soon as they cross the border, all of these perks that shouldn't be happening. It's paid for by the taxpayers. They get to go stay in hotels. There's a couple of them in Mission Valley. There's the Ramada off of El Camino del Rio South, 631. Camino del Rio South, I'm sorry. And then also the 4 Points, which is at 3888 Greenwood Street. There's also a place off of Pacific Highway, which is 4902 Pacific Highway. This was an old CHP Border Protection Division unit, which is being used once the people go and use the CBP1 app, which they want to portray as a legal means to come in. It is also illegal. It's just bypassing going across the wall and bypassing the same processing that happens when they go around the wall, over it, however they get through. Now, they are brought to this Pacific Highway location, and the funny thing about, it's not funny, it's very disturbing, that building is filled with asbestos. And so they are actually putting these illegal aliens in harm's way when they are bringing them to that facility using that, and they will process them further, give them services that they need, and then they take them to the 4 Points, which is at the 3888 Greenwood Street. Now, the Hotel Circle, the Camino del Rio location, the Ramada, that is for the people that are coming across the wall and being processed at the soft-sided detention site. Now, that's run by the Catholic Charities, and in number 41 that was brought forward on the agenda by Nora Vargas at the last minute, because they had just decided on December 4th who they were going to give some of this FEMA money that the county got, and it's going to be $2 million from FEMA. And as we know, there are people who have been lost everything from flooding, from fires, from different things, and FEMA is basically saying that they have run out of money, that they don't have enough money to help these people when they have been giving millions, if not billions of dollars to different places all over the nation to help facilitate this invasion. It is an invasion, and I would like to bring forward J.J. Carroll's book, Invaded. He is a Border Patrol agent that worked here in San Diego County for 24 years. His book is called Invaded. In fact, him and Ryan Matta, a filmmaker, created a few documentaries. One of them is What is Treason, #traffic. There is also What is Treason, #invaded. And as well, there is one called Operation Amber Alert that Ryan Matta just brought forward, talking about the child trafficking that is actually happening because we're allowing this to continue. Over 325,000 children have gone missing. In fact, in San Diego County, in 2021, at the convention center, not too far from where we are, 1,500 to a couple of thousand children were trafficked out of that facility. They were only there for a month. They said that they found their sponsors, and we know, if you are paying attention to what's going on with this invasion and with the children that go missing, HHS, ORR, which is Office of Refugee Resettlement, as well as DHS and other NGOs, are trafficking these children. In fact, in San Diego County, there are two facilities. Southwest Key Programs runs. One's in El Cajon, and one is in Lemon Grove. They have the DOJ is investigating Southwest Key Programs due to sexual abuse and assault allegations. within the facilities with the workers that are there. So they are not doing things that they should to protect these children, even any of the people that come across. These children go into sex slavery, they go into labor work, which they shouldn't be doing, and that's been sorry, there's an echo, so it's a little throwing me off. But there has been exposure to the fact that these children are working in factories, they're being overworked, and they also have their organs harvested much of the time. In fact, they will do it in Mexico, and there's buyers here in the United States. So it should be something that we are concerned about. But if you know about HHS and the things that they do with the children through foster care, CPS, and the like, they are trafficking own children. So this is something that we should be concerned about. We should be talking about it. We shouldn't be brushing it under the rug. So the fact that they want to give $2 more million to Catholic charities, the Catholic charities here in San Diego County have filed for bankruptcy due to pedophilia. And so for bankruptcy, then you can't follow the money as far as what they're doing with the money that they get for the shelter and services program. In fact, they've gotten the most in the nation for the shelter and services program out of anybody. And it's very disturbing to think about people that have actually been abusing children are dealing with the migrant children that come across, the unaccompanied minors. This is something that we need to be really, again, talking about and not just ignoring, because it is a very big problem when our government has been trafficking these children, has lost them, admittedly. In fact, there was a conference for Congress, a congressional hearing regarding the trafficking of the children. They have whistleblowers that have come forward that worked with HHS and were the ones that thought that they were getting into it to reunite families, and what they found was it was almost like a conveyor belt to get children, as many of them, and as many of them, and as many of them into our nation as possible. And if they don't have any oversight through ICE, HHS, ORR, and all of the NGOs, there's a problem, because you can't just claim negligence. This is an intentional. Are the biggest traffickers in the world, and this is a huge business. So the more money that they spend to continue this invasion, especially the interesting thing is that it has slowed down at the border. There hasn't been as many people coming across as there had been at one time. So the fact that the county wants to spend this $2 million, and they actually have many more plans to continue to aid and abet these illegal aliens. And if you look up 8 USC 1324, it is a federal offense to aid and abet and provide these services and harbor illegal aliens. So the county is setting themselves up for some pretty interesting days ahead as they continue to push back against the federal government. So I think it's important for us to be aware of what's going on so that people can understand how dangerous this could potentially be. Now, as far as silencing the people, Tara Lawson-Remer with number 36 is going to be bringing forward more measures to silence the people. In fact, they're going from using Robert's Rules of Order, which is a pretty extensive book. This is an older version. One of the newer versions has about 700 pages in it. This one has about under 300. They are going to Rosenberg's Rules of Order. And that is brought forward from a man that was a judge in Yolo County. He was also a border supervisor and a mayor. And it's only about 10 pages, but what it does is it is basically taking more rights from the people. Freedom of speech is enshrined in our Constitution. This are rights that come from God, not from our government. In fact, the Brown Act is enshrined in the Constitution, and it says rules and regulations that the board actually has to follow to make sure that the people are able to redress their government. And when you are taking and changing the rules like that, it's very dangerous when you encroach on free speech, and they have liked to sit and tell the people addressing the board, you cannot redress the employees that bring forward and for the items, and that in fact is not true. In fact, Mara Elliott has already precedent saying that we have the ability to address anybody that we need to in these meetings that is encroaching on free speech when they're trying to tell us who we can and who we cannot talk to. And in fact, so I've been arrested here at the Board of Supervisors several times, 3 times in fact, and one of the times I was assaulted by one of the sheriffs here, and they're using that people, talk about different things that are encompassed in what the agenda is, and they don't like the truth. They like to silence the people. They want to make the people afraid. So they are planning to bring in more sanctions in as far as the people go and speaking, to make it so that if you don't listen to the board, what they would consider disrupt the meeting, then you could potentially be kicked out of meetings for several weeks at a time. And if you have other violations over a 6-month period, they're possibly going to bring more sanctions in to make sure that the people cannot come and attend the meetings. It's very important that the people attend the meetings and they feel because the board is supposed to make their decisions based off of what the people say. They're supposed to represent the people. And if you don't have the people here, you are silencing them and keeping them away from meetings. There's no way to really ensure that they are, in fact, representing the people. So it's important to show up to your county, your local meetings, to figure out what's going on, because when you're not paying attention to what they're doing, you can't see very clearly what they're bringing down the pipe. So I encourage people to go to their local meetings, and I wanted to open up the floor to Kim Yeater. She is with... Oh, right. Yes, okay.
And then do us.
Right.
And so
Yes.
the opening with that real quick before we bring it.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining us at this press conference here in San Diego County. We're outside of the County Administration Building at 1600 Pacific Highway. I'm Audra Morgan. I'm Eye of the Storm SD on X. You can also follow me on Rumble. This will be live streaming there. It's at Eye of the Storm. I'm with San Diego Live Data. We're here. We cover the border. We do a lot of different things. In fact, if you ever have any tips that you would like me to check out, you can reach out to us at 619-678-1442. You can also email at sandiegolivedata@gmail.com. You can also go to sandiegolivedata.com if you want to find out more information. But just thank you guys for joining us, and I'd again like to bring in Kim Yeater. She's fantastic. She's a sister in Christ, and she's working on the border, different things. We work on reforming the elections, but she's with Take Our Border Back. So I would like to welcome Kim. Thank you so much.
Yes. Audra, this woman is a voice of truth. What she just brought to you right now, it is imperative that we listen, and we listen clearly. This space should be filled with thousands of San Diegans right now, speaking out and allowing their voice to be heard. So I am going to speak for those that are not here right now. We, the people, have spoken. The incoming administration is putting this County Board of Supervisors on notice. And every illegal immigrant, illegal alien that has entered this country during the open border periods, they are coming in. They are not holding back. You have heard Tom Holman. I have sat in interviews with Tom Holman. ICE is not messing around. Our safety is at risk. This is a national breach of security. We, the people, must take our power back. This is also a safety issue for every illegal alien that has entered the country upon the hope that they will have the American dream. You are being used as a pawn. They do not care about you. They are using these things, this money, the places to live, this hope of a hope in a future to put you in slavery to do their bidding. There's a bigger picture of taking this country down. You have every opportunity right now to turn around, follow the advice and instruction of the incoming administration to safely be deported back to your country. You all are on warning. And if you think you're going to cross the illegal aliens, the gangs, those that are trafficking these children, think that you're going to come into this country and continue to do what you're doing, it's done. You're going. And we will declare that this city, San Diego, and our country will be a place that is protected. We will no longer hamstring our leaders that we put in place that support we the people. We will support the current, the upcoming, incoming administration and their goal to support we the people with a safe country, borders that are closed, a process in place that vets those that enter this country. Board of Supervisors, again, you are on notice. The people have spoken. We will take our power back. And if we, the people, right now thinking that we are done, that we have won, you are mistaken. General Flynn says over and over, local action equals national impact. Show up, San Diego. Fight for your freedom. Fight, fight, fight. That does not mean to be wicked and cruel and hateful and evil. No, it means to stand for your God-given future and what the Constitution has given us. Our forefathers died for this country, for our freedom. No longer riding on the coattails of our forefathers. On a personal note, I have an uncle. He fought for this country. He was shot 3 times. Thank you, Jesus, for the Bible in his pocket with a metal plate that protected him. But do you know, in his own state right now, he is not being funded by the veterans. He's not being funded because there's no more money, because that money has gone to the illegal aliens. This will stop. We must take care of our people first. We've heard it said over and over, put the mask on yourself. Not that mask. We're talking about the oxygen mask. We must take care of our country first. It is then we will be able to take care of the rest of the world. The world is looking to us, America. Stand up, speak up, show up. We will close this border and we will deport all illegal aliens with the process that is set up by the incoming administration. With that being said, we have the ability to take our power back, so let's do it. God bless you, and God bless this country. I'm Kim Yeater from the Take Your Power Back Show and Take Our Border Back. You can find us on Rumble, TOBDconvoy.com. You can find me on Twitter as well. You can find us at Real Kim Yeater at Twitter. Thank you to San Diego Live for being here. Thank you to Fox for being here today. And thank you for Audra Morgan, Eye of the Storm, for creating this space.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. This couldn't be more important to talk about, to address. It couldn't be more important for us to continue to hold our public servants accountable, to make sure that they represent the people. And as Kim was talking about, you know, these people have been sold a lie, and it's very sad because they're being exploited. So it is imperative that they wind up taking the action themselves and deporting yourself. Because if you wait, it's going to be even harder for you if you choose to go against the incoming administration's plan to deport you. So I encourage you to take it upon yourself and make sure that you're doing what you need to do to get back to your country, because if you want to come back to America, the only way you're going to be able to do it is to follow the process. We have people who are on the terrorist watch list that have been dropping their documents at the border that has been documented, and we already know with 9/11, this is putting our nation at risk, and we should be very, very cautious moving forward by continuing to aid and abet the illegal aliens. So all of the sanctuary cities as well, it would behoove you to stop doing what you are doing, just like San Diego. It would behoove the Board of Supervisors to not go down this route and vote yes for these items here in San Diego. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be a 2-3 vote, and they're going to be pushed forward. So pay attention to what's going on in your county. And we have the hot ticket items, again, are number 29, number 36, and number 41. The agenda is still full of other things that you should address, but these are the hot ticket items that we need people to come in today to the San Diego County Board of Supervisors and voice your concerns. If you can't do that, go on to the San Diego County Board of Supervisors website and make an e-comment so that at least you're having your voice be heard. Make sure you mark whether you're in opposition or you're in favor, even if you're neutral. But it's important for us to continue to address these things. I thank you guys so much for joining us here for our press conference outside of the Board of Supervisors for the last meeting of 2024. Please, again, pay attention. If you can, you should read J.J. Carroll's book, Invaded. You should also see the documentaries that him and Ryan Matta have brought forward. I really encourage you to see and actually take this What is Treason #trafficked and or Operation Amber Alert to your local sheriff to see what they're doing to combat the human trafficking that has been happening on the border for the past several years, and all of the children that have gone missing due to our administration's negligence. And I would say that it is willful and intentional. So thank you guys again for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. I look forward to seeing many of you inside of this meeting and outside of there. Again, I'm Audra Morgan. I am the Storm, SD on X. God bless you guys. We can do this. We have to turn away from our wicked ways, and our Lord will cleanse our land. Chronicles 7:14. So it's up to us, you guys. It's always going to be up to the people. Like Kim was saying, local action makes national impact. The Board of Supervisors will be starting at 9 a.m. this morning, so here shortly in the next hour or so. So I encourage you to get down here and sign up. It's going to be a long day, but it's going to be an interesting one. So again, God bless you guys. Love you so much. If you have any tips you'd ever like me to go out and investigate and report on, again, please call 619-678-1442 or email me at sandiegolivedata@gmail.com. It's a great day in San Diego. It's time for us to keep that it's a beautiful place, and it's up to us to do that. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And also, there's a campaign on X that I've been doing to bring light to the children and the documentaries that they have brought forward. It is something I'm doing, a 60-day campaign, hoping to get Elon Musk and Donald Trump to share these documentaries so that we can bring light to what's happening with these children and put an end to it. It's important that we don't ignore what's going on, so I hope you can join that campaign as well to try and get this far and wide out to the nation, because it's important for us to acknowledge what's happening with the children. So God bless you guys. Again, thank you for joining us. This is San Diego Live Data, Eye of the Storm SD. We also have the real Kim Yeater. You can follow us all on X, and stay tuned, because we're always bringing you the news that most people don't share with you. So God bless you guys. Thank you. You going to be inside too?
say something at our press conference? Why? Oh my gosh. Come on, Jim. I'm glad you're here at least. I was concerned you weren't going to show up. Like you had some better to do. Break. It was like a 15-minute. It was supposed to be 5 minutes. Yeah. I just asked him something because I was going to invite him to the premiere, which I already had done for the staff, and they didn't answer. Like I can't just
supporting the illegal aliens, right? And we, the people, should be supporting that in order to protect us, right? And we, the people, should be supporting that in order to protect us. So how important is this meeting today?
Well, it's incredibly important. In fact, it's the last meeting of 2024 for the regular meetings. And it's incredibly important because as January is coming forward and this new administration will be in play, it is potentially the things that they're doing in San Diego is potentially putting the people at risk when they're claiming that it's to protect San Diegans, and in fact isn't. As I was talking about the little girl that was raped, we've already had consequences to the policies that are already in play with not sharing this information. So they're going even further to basically dig their heels in the sand and say, we're not going to budge. We are going to go against the federal government in pushing these agenda items. So it's going to really shape the next year if they do put this forward. It probably will be a vote of 3-2, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But it's very important to understand that we shouldn't be going against the federal government with their plans and their order supporting these people. We should not be aiding and abetting them. And will be held accountable. And so, I think that they think that possibly they're not going to have any issues doing it, but it's asking for the federal government to come after you here in San Diego, as Tom Homan has already promised that he's going to go after the sanctuary cities. So it is actually putting our county more at risk and the people here.
Yeah, so you made a comment that we should not be going against the federal government. So let's talk about the current administration, federal government, and the
administration that we have right now has been facilitating the invasion of our border, the child trafficking that's going on. They've lost over 325,000 children that they're just saying, oh, whoops, we don't have any measures in play, right? And then you see the new incoming administration wanting to put an immediate stop to that, to get these people out of our country, because as we know, there are terrorists on watch lists that have invaded here already, and so it's very dangerous to think about just allowing this to continue and not doing something about it. So it's going to be a very abrupt change that is going to be happening, and it's necessary.
So do you think that the incoming administration is actually going to do what they say they're going to do?
I do. I believe so, because they're already putting measures and plans in place that is going to be, changing what's been happening. And so I think it's very, I definitely. Yes.
Yeah, so we put the current Board of Supervisors, County Board of Supervisors on notice, as well as all those that are complicit in the aiding and abetting of these illegal aliens. So we talked about, one of the things we talked about earlier, and I love how you piggybacked, like you just set everything up today with giving us the fact on these three measures. There's lots of things they're voting on, but these three things are very specific. So let's talk about those three things first. Then I'm going to ask you my question. So tell me, there's three measures.
Correct. It is number 29, which is the talking about going against ICE and saying that they're going to put in further, distance between ICE and them. And then there is number 41, which is also to do with the illegal aliens, and it's talking about giving $2 million to Catholic Charities for more shelter and services programs through FEMA. And then also number 36, which is talking about silencing the people, bringing in more sanctions to basically keep the public away from meetings if they so desired, and going from Robert's Rules of Order to Rosenberg's Rules of Order. And it's very dangerous to encroach on free speech, but that's what they're doing with that item.
Wow, this is kind of a crazy time to be alive, an amazing time to be alive and to stand. Now, I would imagine that here in San Diego, this is a pretty big deal. I mean, we just had an MS-13 gang member arrested. That's one of many that have been released into this country, right? Illegally released. So I am shocked that there are not thousands of people here right now saying, we have got to take our power back. And I really think that we, the people that are in support of the incoming administration, think it's done. We think, okay, well, we've already won, right? It's all going to change. But what people don't realize is the importance of the activism that you're doing, that you're showing up, you're speaking up. You've created this space so that we, the people, can walk in and truly take our power back. So what is it going to take for the people to truly wake up from the slumber, because gosh, General Flynn talks about the beaches of Normandy. Like in the midst of the war, they showed up on the beaches. If they would have celebrated the win and been stopped, they would never have completed the task at hand. Right? And so, and it's the enemy strikes when you're in the midst of celebration, right? And we see that
And
in
you think
history.
there's victory, you know.
And you think there's
then-
victory. And so what we need to be alert. And I think of the scripture that says the devil is like a roaring lion round about to see whom he can devour. Well, that's what we're up against. We have got to put, I believe, the scriptures in practice. Our freedom, right? And what else do you see we the people have got to do right now, or what we can do to truly wake the people up to take their power back?
Well, I think talking about things, talking about all of these things, even if you're just at the grocery store with your family. I think a lot of times people don't want to talk about the different things that are going on because it's like, you know, politics, and you know, we got to just kind of separate ourselves from that. But I think it's important to start having these tough conversations and make sure that we're making people aware of what's going on. That's why it's important to have like a press conference or go live and talk to the people. So because not everybody is going to pay attention to what these officials are doing, and that's the most important thing, because that's how we shape our community, right? So it's important to come and redress our servants, but it's also important to have conversations wherever we're at and talk about the things that most people don't want to ask them. How do you feel about this? Did you know that this was going on? And what are you willing to do to stop it if you don't agree with it? And part of the problem is that because we're a border town, a lot of people have been coming across from Tijuana for decades. And so you have a lot of people that, you know, I thought that they would feel different. I thought when we had the flooding here in January and I came and I was trying to let them know that I felt like these people weren't being taken care of to rebuild their lives after they lost everything. And I would bring up the illegal immigration, and people would say, well, this isn't about illegals. And I said, well, I'm concerned because they're actually getting all of these services that these people who lost everything aren't getting. So I thought in standing up for that it would be like people would be happy. But then it turns out that there were many illegal aliens who lost everything in the flood, cannot come forward because they don't have documentation, so they're afraid to talk about it. And that's a problem, because it's like, you know, it's not my fault that that happened up for my community and the people that are, you know, but that's why we have to have policies and procedures that are going to make sure that these people don't feel that way. Like, you should be able to come, but you have to do it the legal way, right? And so it was interesting to find that out, that there's a lot of people here in San Diego that want this to happen. But I don't think that they fully understand, because it's more like wanting to bring your family across and like have them here. But in that, you're also going to allow in terrorists, and you're going to allow unaccompanied minors to be trafficked. So it encompasses way more than they really understand, and I don't think they see it as a dangerous thing, but it is. And so it's something like, that's why we have to have these tough conversations, so that people can be aware, like, where are the children? You know what I mean? We shouldn't be just not talking about it, but we also have to understand that our own government does this with our own children here in America. So it's a very big business, and I think, you know, making people aware of is very good, but just having conversations, holding your public officials accountable, and you know, standing in the gap for these children and different people.
It. Standing in the gap. And you were just saying that this is a big business, right? And when we think of, you know, the fentanyl, when we think of the kids being trafficked. So if we were to take a look at the money, so we've declared a state of emergency. Right? So if we look at the money, so the federal government comes in and they give us money, right? And so that money goes to FEMA. So let's follow that trail. The money goes to FEMA, and then it goes to where?
The NGOs.
The non-government organizations like?
Or the nefarious gangster operations, like Jewish Family Services, like Catholic Charities, like Southwest Key Programs, MVM Inc., Endeavors, those are the children trafficking ones. It goes to, you know, Lutheran Family Service. I mean, there's so many. A lot of them are under the umbrella of religion, and they use that as a way of saying, like, this is what God would want you to do. And they say that these people are now Americans.
Americans, but because it's going through these non-governmental organizations, it allows there to be no oversight because South Bay Community Services opened the transfer site that was here in San Diego for $6 million. It was open for just over 4 months. It was about like 4 months and 3 weeks, and their like staff was paid about $2 million of that for that short period of time. And so what happens is it goes into the CEO's pockets. They say you can follow, seeing that they're just making more and more money every year, and it's quite extravagantly more. I mean, it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not more than that, each time the year passes. And so because you can't really follow it, like so when South Bay Community Services was doing this contract, when I asked the county for the information, it took them 4 months to give me 4 pieces of paper that barely had a breakdown of what they were spending it on. It would say, you know, we gave them meals and it cost
Zero
this
accountability.
much. Yes, and that's the whole point, is that there's no way to hold these, because it's, as long as you keep spreading it out thinner and saying, well, oh no, it's not us, it's kind of like losing the kids. Oh, well, it's not, well, we just don't have any oversight. Like, we don't have any way to communicate. We're going to send an email instead of having all of this data in one place, because they want to collect data on everything. They want to combine it, but for some reason, they won't do it with things like this. And so when you know that they're not doing it like this, there's a reason, because they don't want to be held accountable. It allows there to be no transparency, and then everybody can just say, well, it's not my fault. You know what I mean? It was them that did it. Point fingers everywhere else. And so it's important that these NGOs be defunded immediately and use that money to get the people out, right? And it's possible because this is a $1 trillion business. I mean, it's insane the amounts of money. The only thing that's happened here is that we facilitated the invasion of it and harboring and aiding and abetting these illegal aliens who have committed a federal offense just by coming here. And then they'll say, well, if they commit another crime, then we'll go ahead and count that. You shouldn't be doing that, because if I can be arrested here, if my data gets shared with all of law enforcement, and you're saying that you're going to protect these people who have committed a federal offense, which is far greater than anything I've ever done. And if I did that, if I went and crossed the border, they would put me in federal prison.
They certainly would.
So it's a problem when there's no consistency, and when you can see that this is like a business and they're doing it because it's a great money laundering operation.
So speaking of business, let's talk about the Welcome Center.
Yes. Yes.
So we know Escondido just opened up their illegal alien Welcome Center, right? And so there is one that's about to be open. It's been held back because of funding and Provencia, which we follow the track to Provencia. It feeds into all of the NGOs.
That's
right? So what's your take on this Welcome Center that is about to be open once that funding comes through? And let's talk about that funding and where it's going.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. So every person that they help, they're getting more and more money for, right? So they do it under the guise of like, I want to help this person. No, you're doing it because you get money per person that you help. This is going to do is just going to give them more services, things like, you know, getting an EBT card, getting Social Security, whatever it is. I mean, signing them up to vote is what they were also doing.
Are those from my tax dollars?
It is from your tax dollars.
This is from San Diego County tax dollars.
As well as, you know, the nations, because we all put into FEMA, right?
Yes, that's
so
true.
it's interesting to see how much money they will spend to do that and give subpar pretty much services. Because if, say you provide a meal, you can go ahead and upcharge it, because that's what they do with the federal government anyway, anytime there's a contract. So you don't even have to really provide them with like a meal that's really that great, but you can say they're like $10, $20, $30 a meal and just give them like a cup of noodles and say, call it a day. You know what I'm saying? So the money gets wasted, but it is a way for them to bring all of these individuals to one location to get them as many services as possible. When we have people that are sitting out on the street, people that have been waiting for decades just to get the help, and they're put on a list, but these people are priority, and that's a problem because it's our money that's funding it, and we can't even get the same services. So whatever's going to be happening there should actually not happen. They should put an immediate stop on it, because we already know the incoming administration is going to do it anyway. So why do you want to fight them?
Right.
And then you're going to spend the people's money, the taxpayers' money, to fight them by saying we're going to hold them, like take them to court, all of these things. It's like, well, we the people did not consent to that, because you're using our money to do that. We shouldn't be wasting it on that. just so that you can continue with this agenda and this invasion that's happening in our nation.
So good, so good. All right, so you're here today. I know we're gonna wrap it up 2 minutes. So why is this so important to you personally, Audra?
Oh, well, I mean, I've been covering the border, and it's been very disturbing to see what's happening. I mean, all the documents I've found, all the children's, birth certificates or IDs or different things. I'm seeing the destruction of our nation. I believe that it has to happen from within, and so, I come here all the time anyway because I think it's important to pay attention to what's going on locally. You don't have any idea what's coming down the pipe unless you pay attention to what kind of agendas are being brought forward. So. I care about my nation. I care about the children. I'm a victim. And so it's important for me to do whatever I can to make sure that we are protecting these children and just, our nation and ensuring that there's a future for the children to live in.
Yeah, that there's a future for the children to live in. Yeah. So 9 o'clock, we're about to get started. Yes. Okay, so the San Diego County Board of Supervisors, we're here. Audra will be speaking as well. Hopefully I'll get a couple of minutes to speak. If you didn't get to listen to the press conference earlier, go back, listen on in to this. It will be posted again. So this is...
I'm Audra Morgan. I am the Storm SD on X.
I'm Kim Yeater. Take Your Power Back Show and take our border back at Real Kim Yeater and TOBB Convoy on X.
Yes.
So with that being, because we're about to go in. So guys, it's time to stand up, it's time to show up, and it's time to speak up. Remember, we're not done, we're just getting started.
That's right, and we're San Diego Live Data, so join us there on X as well. You can give us a tip if you'd ever like to do that, or you have information you'd like us to check out or provide. You can call 619-678-1442. You can also go to sandiegolivedata@gmail.com, send an email, or go to sandiegolivedata.com to find out more. Thank you guys for joining us. God bless. Happy Tuesday.